Friends, sit back, relax. We're going to begin here in just a moment in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the second part of Joe Engelmann's story. In part one of our conversation, we met Joe and learned that he was born in Germany, raised by his mother, and shaped by early experiences that led him into the military service and later into the world of technology. Joe built not just one, but two successful IT companies. But beneath all of that, one dream never let go, the dream of becoming a professional pilot. In today's episode, we pick up the story as Joe continues his search for his American father. He discovers that he had two sisters he didn't know about. Eventually, he leaves Germany and moves to the United States and finally takes flight, literally. He achieves the goal that had guided him all along, that of becoming a professional pilot. This is part two of the Joe Engelmann story, and it's one you won't want to miss.
Like that today, we'd think it's a scam, but
Well, I ran into that. Also, people would just think this is a foreign accent,
yeah.
a foreign phone number.
Sure.
What is this? And just hang up.
Just hang up on.
But one morning, I called a number, and there is a lady taking it. And I'm telling my, meanwhile, well-rehearsed little story. And there's a moment of pause and no noise, no nothing. And I am already expecting, okay, she's going to hang up.
Yeah.
But no, she says, are you ready to copy, sir? I say, oh, sure, I'm ready to copy. I'm giving you the phone number of your sister.
Oh my gosh. That was luck. Do you know how many calls you had made before you got to that one?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. So you got your sister's phone number.
I accidentally called the divorced wife of my father.
Oh my gosh.
And she was so kind, not just to hang up and say,
Right.
okay, I'm going to help this guy.
How cool is that?
And I got this phone number, and I called the phone number, and I called my sister Perry.
Perry.
And she said, oh my God, we knew there is somebody in Europe, but we had no idea how we could find you.
So they were in a way looking for you too, or anticipating
They
wanting to look
knew
for you.
it, but because my dad sadly passed away 2 years before this event.
Oh.
I missed him. I missed him by 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
But my sister Perry found hidden in the attic letters from my mom.
Oh wow.
And so they knew there is a child in Europe. And by the way, I got these letters. My sister gave them to me.
Oh wow.
And believe it or not, I have the original typewriter. My dad would type on the letters to my mom.
Oh my gosh. Joe, I'm getting chill bumps thinking about this. This is you need to write your biography. I'm telling you, man. This is an incredible story. So you have the letters, you've met your sister. What was that like?
It's hard to describe. If you're experiencing something like that, you're going through a whirlpool of feelings.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Imagine I did search for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I finally found the answers I wanted. And it goes deeper. It's about roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am very much convinced you need to know your roots.
Oh
Otherwise,
yeah, absolutely.
you're not whole.
Yeah.
If you don't know your roots your whole life, you won't be whole. You
Yeah.
do not know what makes you you.
Yeah.
And I finally found them. And I got to visit my sister Perry, and I have another sister, Pam. And
Two
I was
sisters.
two sisters.
Cool.
And I was finally to, I was able to unwrap stuff which led directly back to me.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
people are discussing about genetic coding.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Uh-huh.
here's my story to that. Now, let's first do me. Uh, I think I described already the rebellion entrepreneur a little bit, but I also love music.
Hmm.
I play saxophone. I still do it. I played in the band. I love music. The other thing is I do love to play competitive table tennis.
Hmm. I remember that
I
about
did
you.
I did ride motorbikes all my life. That's Joe. Now here's my father, who is an after he left the Air Force, worked first for NASA doing
Wait a minute.
software.
Wait a minute. He worked for NASA?
He worked
Wait a
for
minute.
NASA.
Okay, wait. We got to pause for a second. Because there was a little boy in Germany in 1969 who actually saw the first landing
Landing
on the
on.
moon. Okay, go ahead. He worked for NASA. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that connection couldn't be passed. Go ahead.
He worked for NASA and he did the programs for the wind tunnels for guess what rocket?
Oh, let me guess. Go ahead. Tell me.
We're talking about the Saturn V, which brought our
Oh,
people to the moon.
oh my gosh. So you both had this engineering DNA in you.
Well, it goes further.
Oh,
My my
oh, I can't
father
wait. Keep going.
my father had a table tennis table in his garage all his
Uh-huh.
life. He
Oh
was
my
a
gosh.
fierce and competitive table tennis player. I have a picture of my dad playing guitar
Do
because he
you
loved to
really?
do that. Yes.
Okay, you got to show me that sometime. You got to show me
Yeah,
that
I got
sometime.
to show you that.
Yeah.
Actually, when I met my sister Perry the first time, she looked at me and said, "Oh my gosh, if I would have met you accidentally in Houston, I would have fainted because you are a copy, an absolute 100% copy of our dad."
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. If it, there's so much more to our roots than mere genetic material.
Yeah.
There's a deep
It's
connection. Yeah.
it's very, very astonishing, and I never thought about that before.
Hmm.
But yeah, and coming back to what I say, you need to know your roots
Yeah.
because that's showing you what made you you.
Right. Wow. So finding your dad, finding your sisters, closing the loop, or at least opening a new part of your history led you, I believe, if I recall correctly, to want to come to the United States, right?
Well, I discovered, and I knew that the right of birth makes me an American citizen, right?
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. I had already, before all this happened, thought about how I
Sure.
could get to the US. And I actually had a plan to found a branch of my company in the US and send me over as a CEO, which would guarantee me 10 years
Sure.
on a visa. But it would not guarantee me after these 10 years to stay in the US.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So now there was a new window bright open.
Oh, yeah.
So I took all the documentation, and actually I was 6 weeks in Florida in January 2009.
Okay.
That was the time I visited my sisters. And that was the time I bought a house in Punta Gorda.
Okay, so that's how you got to Punta Gorda. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, that's awesome.
And came back from Florida, Punta Gorda, Florida, as a house owner.
Oh.
And I went to the embassy in Frankfurt with my documentation, applied for the American citizenship, which took about 6 months. And during these 6 months, I also initiated selling my company in Germany,
Okay.
selling my house, and you know how that is.
Oh, yeah.
Moving between two continents has a lot of work you were not expecting.
I can't. Terry and I have moved a lot. I've never moved continent to continent. I can't imagine what that was like.
Well, it goes just a little item. I love books. I love to read. And I had, I would say, maybe 1,000 books.
Yeah.
You cannot move 1,000 books over the Atlantic.
Oh, I can.
That is so expensive.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
So I had to sort out, and what I did was my most beloved books came with me, and
Right.
the other ones I just donated to a library.
Sure. Well, that makes good sense. It makes good sense. Yeah.
A lot of little things where you don't think about, but yeah, I made it. I sold my company and I moved to the United States.
And was it about this time, I think within a couple years of 2009, that's about the time that you and I met and you were getting involved in Civil Air Patrol. But that's when you made this aviation transition. You finally were able to chase that dream. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I told you it was January 2009, 6 weeks in the US, and not only buying a house and doing all kind of stuff, I also met people at the airport in Punta Gorda. And I was asking and getting knowledge about how to obtain a pilot's license. And I came definitely back to the United States with not a lot of plans, but one was firm. I will become a pilot. As soon as I am back in Punta Gorda, I will take flying lessons. I will become a pilot.
I can see that. If the threads of our stories align in so many ways. So
Yeah.
you get back to Punta Gorda, you start doing your flight training. How long did it take you to get, let's see, to get your CFI? How long did, because you had to do your private, instrument, commercial, CFI, multi. Tell me about that. How that
Well,
happened. How long did it take?
the private license was not a big deal. I think
Yeah.
I took 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh, you were flying
Yeah,
every day, I bet.
I was just flying every day. Actually,
Yeah.
I figured out that it's cheaper to buy an airplane than to rent it. So I bought
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bought a 150, a Cessna 150, two-seat. Had it for a very long time. My little lady, I called her, was a very reliable airplane. So I did my instrument, I did my commercial, and then I said, "What to do with this all now?"
Right. I've made
And
it.
yeah, I'm done. And then a colleague, which was working at the airport, said, "Joe, why are you not doing your CFI?"
Ah,
I said, "Well, I have not thought about it, but yeah." He said, "Joe, you are a teacher. You need to do your
of
CFI."
course you are. Of course you are. It's not
So
enough to be a student. You have to be the teacher too. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
yeah, so I went for a accelerated CFI course in I think Boca Raton.
Boca Raton. Okay. Yeah.
Takes you 4 weeks to become a CFI and a CFII.
Okay. So just for those who are not pilots, CFI stands for Certified Flight Instructor. CFII is a Certified Flight Instructor instrument. They can teach.
Yeah,
You can teach instrument ratings. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. Takes you 4 weeks. It is a unbelievable stress.
It's the
But
hardest check ride you'll ever take.
yes, mine for the CFI, mine took 9 hours.
Takes 9 hours. Yeah. Mine was about the same. Yeah.
Yeah. They're grilling you.
Oh yeah.
Additionally,
Because you're taking other people's lives in your hand to teach them how to take their family up in airplanes. It's okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I came back to Punta Gorda, now a newly CFI, and now you got to teach, right? And
Oh
it
yeah.
also, I sold my company. I sold it well, but not well enough to retire out of that and live until to 85 and well. So I needed just to make some money. And there was a company in Arcadia teaching crop dusters.
Yeah.
And crop
Arcadia is
dust
just a little north of Punta Gorda. Yeah.
X06 is the airport code. I never got
Tiny
it.
little airport. Tiny little airport.
Yeah. So they are teaching crop dusters. And crop dusters are commercial pilots, so they need a commercial license. So I contracted with that company and taught their crop dusters to become commercial pilots.
I love it. The entrepreneur comes back. Let's see, I'm going to contract with this company to sell them my software, but I'm now going to contract with a company to teach people how to be commercial pilots. I love it.
Well, also, I discovered that we have a big German community right
Oh yeah.
across the river at Cape Coral. And I knew if I wanted to be a professional pilot, I need hours.
Mhm.
I need flight hours in my logbook. So I made up on my Facebook site the opportunity for them to do sightseeing flights with me. So I flew a lot of German tourists on a 25 nautical mile circle
Oh my
around Punta
gosh.
Gorda. And, and now we are closing another open loop. I joined Civil Air Patrol.
Huh. I know that organization.
And I met a guy there, and we clicked off. And so we both flew cadets, and we flew the harbor patrol.
Oh
And,
yeah. What a
and
fun mission that was. We flew for an hour and a half at 1,000 feet at 95 knots with an observer and sometimes a scanner in the back, looking for stranded boaters
and
along
counting
Charlotte
boats
Harbor
on the clicker.
and counting boats, sometimes 400, 300, 400 boats for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible thing. They had a contract with the county for years,
Yes.
decades, for
Yep.
decades.
Yep.
And I think you had told me one time you actually I never had a find, never actually spotted anyone, but you actually had a mission where it was what we call a hot mission, right?
Yeah, I had one mission where in the Boca Grande Pass, a child fell overboard.
Ah, okay. How
And we
sad.
were searching for it, and sad outcome is we sadly never found
Oh my
any.
gosh.
It's sad, but yeah, that was what we were there for.
Yeah.
That was actually part of our missions, and the other part was missions together with the Air Force.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Doing for like post hurricane aerial photography missions and pre
And
hurricane.
playing the bad guy, and you were intercepted by the F-18s from the Naval Air Base in
The Key West.
Key West, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know this, but Civil Air Patrol as the Air Force Auxiliary is just what Joe says. We'll fly. We do a mission with the Air Force or Air National Guard and sometimes the Navy where we'll fly into restricted airspace, and they will intercept us to practice intercepting small, slow aircraft. And you actually got. I never got to do that. Did you get to do that?
oh, I did that several times together with the Marco Island Squadron.
Oh my gosh. So here we are reliving some of our military background again and building ours. So you're teaching, you're doing sightseeing flights for Germans in Cape Coral. By the way, a plug for Cape Coral, one of the most incredible Oktoberfests around. I love Cape Coral. I have a German heritage in my family, so my wife and I used to go to that. Anyway, enough of that. So now you're building ours. There was a time where you shifted from not just being a CFI, but from being a CFI to a professional pilot.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So my first gig as a professional pilot was with a guy who lives in Arcadia, and I say he also owns half of that town.
Yeah.
And he had a Cessna 182 and Aero Commander 500 Shrike.
Okay.
In the aviation world, it's a very famous airplane.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Bob Hoover flew it,
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, and I was his contract pilot.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So I flew his family to Key West. He owned several farms in Georgia, so would fly him over to Georgia. I would fly his wife for her hair doing to Miami, stuff like that.
What are you doing today, Joe? Oh, I'm taking my boss's wife over to get her hair cut in Miami. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So you went from that. How long were you doing that for?
I was doing that about a year,
About a
and
year.
as you can imagine, it was contract work.
Oh yeah, so no
So
benefits.
no benefits, and the payments are sometimes good, and sometimes there is nothing. You're on
Yeah.
demand.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I was looking for a serious job, and
Right.
there comes Cape Air. Cape Air is based in Hyannis, Massachusetts,
Flown in there
and
many times myself. Yeah.
they were looking for second in command, first first officer,
First officer.
and
Yeah.
I applied, and they took me, and the payment was I don't know what I shall use for a word, crap.
That's acceptable. We don't have explicit restrictions on our podcast, so.
But it was my foot in the door,
Yeah.
and they have a very, very, very good training department. So I was flying on Cessna 402. These are twin engine propeller airplanes with place for 9 passengers,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they are standard single pilot.
Sure.
So Cape Air was training their pilots really, really well. They have a
Gotcha.
huge
Okay.
training department. They have their own sims, and I learned a lot. I'm thankful for that. I still lose the payment, but I'm thankful what I learned.
Right.
And so I flew in Massachusetts for a while. Then I flew in a whole winter in Michigan.
Oh my gosh. In a 402 in icing conditions.
In
Folks,
crappy weather
in
all the
crappy
time.
weather. Folks, this is not what you dream of being a pilot's really about. This is like the hard. This is this is this is like anyway. It's bad. It's bad, but good because you're learning a
It's,
lot.
it's work. You learn a
Yeah.
lot, and I was rewarded after that flying for Cape Air in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. My base was in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, and it was a dream to fly there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Eric, I had a really tough gig. I was flying in Puerto Rico. How
It
long were
was
you doing that?
island hopping, and
Oh my gosh.
it was just very nice.
You wore shorts, I'm assuming, and flip flops, right?
Yeah,
Was Jimmy
no
Buffett
flip
always
flops,
playing
but
in?
shorts.
Was Jimmy Buffett always playing in the background of your speaker?
It was more like island in the sun.
Oh, okay, Island of the Sun. I love it. I love it. So, all right. So you had this wonderful gig, but there was more to come. What was next after that?
Well, which I did not mention in between is I moved to Punta Gorda and did all of what we talked about. 2 years later, also, I met a beautiful, smart wife, woman. She became my wife. I don't know why, but she did.
I was going to
And,
ask, but I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
and that came with, I inherited also two wonderful children. And the duty was for Cape Air was 4 days on, 4 days off
Oh my
in
gosh.
Puerto Rico.
Oh my
So
gosh.
day number 5 is also actually a duty day because you had to go from San Juan, fly with JetBlue to Tampa, from Tampa, drive home to Punta Gorda, and
Sure.
vice versa on the day before your duty starts. So actually, I had 3 days with my family and 5 days working.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, well, I thought, well, let's do something different to honor more, have more family time.
Mhm.
And what came up was an advertisement from the company we are now working for,
Right.
which was looking for a ground school teacher in Vero Beach, Florida. And I applied for that and, well, got the job.
So you're
So
teaching, you weren't teaching flying initially, but you were teaching ground school.
I was
Eventually
teaching.
you were doing some flight training too, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
Here comes the thing. I'm there for 3 months.
Okay.
First of all, my director of operations there said, "Joe, you know that you have a record?" I said, "What kind of record?" He said, "You are the fastest ever qualified ground instructor in our whole history."
My goodness.
So,
That doesn't
but
surprise me.
it has to do with teaching.
Sure. Yeah.
And 3 months later, I had just done my first few ground schools on my own. The DoD comes to me again. No, sorry, Spooback. There is a email that we are looking for a ground school manager. And now I knew our department was not that big. There were 3 candidates, including me. And one candidate I did not like, and the other one was okay. And there was me where I thought I have not enough experience in this company. I'm 3 months here. Come on. So, in a moment, I met the DoD outside somewhere, and I said, "Hey, can I have a word?" And yeah, sure. And I said, I saw this advertisement about that you're looking for a ground school manager, and I have an opinion. I said, there are actually, in my mind, there are 2 candidates. This one, I think, is no good for us. That one would be okay. And he said, but Joe, there are 3 candidates. I said, yeah, I know there is me, but I think being 3 months in this company, I do not have enough experience. And he looks at me and said, but Joe, you know what? I want you.
I love that. That's incredible.
I want you to apply and you will get the job. So,
Wow.
well, I applied and I became a ground school manager. I liked that job. I do like jobs like that.
Hmm.
I had
I
a
can see
great
that.
I had a great team. I was only teaching CFIs.
Wow. Wow.
Uh, I had great experience with students from all over the world. And then we are selling this branch.
Oh my gosh. So they sold the branch,
They
the
sold the
job.
whole
Oh
branch
my gosh.
to a British company. And I must say, and this is my personal, I did not like the vibe.
Yeah.
I really did not like the vibe of that company. And so I started, and this is your aviation career.
It is. I mean, and we talked in the interview I did with Paul. He talked about how you transition in aviation. It's not always a static, you're
Yeah.
going to stay with this company until you retire. So they sold the branch, but you continued on and you got a couple of other opportunities. The next opportunity was with a really unique company.
Yeah, so you do what you do, you update your resume and you send it out. And
Yeah.
I got a call from a company in Stewart, not that far away, about an hour away from Vero Beach. And they say, "Hey, Joe, we need pilots." Well, I said, "Yeah, well, that's good. I'm a pilot." And I said, "We need second in command for citation ultras and bravos." My first jet.
Oh, yeah. This was your first jet job. Okay.
First jet. So they type rated me. Went to school in Orlando, type rated me, and I flew for them. And I discovered something I did not know before. This is a 135 company, so charter company, or
Charter
if you
company.
want to make it very, very simple, they are Uber in the sky.
Uber in the sky. Yeah. Yeah.
You call them, you buy a seat, they fly you where you want to go, and they throw you out, and that's it. Uber
Yep.
in the sky. But they are, of course, pretty regulated by
Mhm.
the Federal Aviation Administration. And there are companies who adhere very well to these regulations, and there are companies who try to, let's phrase it this way, to bend the rules
Okay.
a little
Yep.
bit, or also sometimes a little bit more.
Hmm.
And I discovered I am in a company like that, and I call these companies not 135, they are 134 and a half.
Because they're skating up against the line a little
And
bit.
I was not happy. I was happy with my flying. I was happy with the experience. I
Right.
was not happy how this company handled safety items,
Yeah.
how they handled duty issues and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
And there comes, I think, yeah, we flew into Boston, and I see a row of little jets. And they are looking so unique. And I am seeing a guy there standing at one jet. He just opens it, and I went over and said, "Sir, can I have a look at this jet? I really like it." And he said, "Yes, sure you can. By the name, my name is, I won't mention his name. And if you're looking for a job, we are looking for pilots." He
This
was
stuff
this.
doesn't fall out of the sky, does it?
Yeah,
So
well, it's
you,
not like fried chicken. It's more like a raw chicken, and you have to do to something to make it eatable.
somebody else said something like that. You get something, but you got to do something with it. So this was the Cirrus Vision Jet,
Yes,
and
yes,
you, as I understand it, you were hired initially as a captain,
yeah,
type rated in the airplane,
yeah.
but something unique happened again. Talk to us about that.
Well, about 3 months working for this company, they asked me if I would become a mentor captain or training captain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Because you're a teacher at
yeah.
heart.
Why not do that, right?
Right, right.
And 6 months later, they made me assistant chief pilot. And 3 months
I love
later,
it.
the chief pilot left. And the owner of the company comes up to me and says, "Joe, you will be our next chief pilot." I said, "Will I?" And
As if you had a choice.
yeah, and well, I remember talking to him at his home in Boca Raton. And he said that. And I said, I would not say his name. I said, "You know what you're buying into if you make me a chief pilot." I said, I will not shut up if something is not okay. I will be a pain in the neck if I think something should be done about safety of pilots or operations. And he said, "Yes, Joe, that's why we want you." I said, "Okay." I'm in.
Love it. So this, and I know you love this job. This was your
I,
dream job, right? Yeah.
but I,
But something happened like it does in aviation. What happened with this?
the company just went bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
saw
but
the
this is
sign
but this is aviation, right? This is aviation.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you move on. As I said, you update your resume. And I found a company operating out of what is the oldest town in Florida?
Um, oh
St.
gosh, you had
Augustine.
to ask me. St. Augustine, yeah.
St. Augustine. And they were flying Honda jets. So
A
up to a new type
beautiful,
rating.
a beautiful twin engine. Another type rating, yes, yeah.
I was hired as a captain. Flew that for 9 months. And guess
And then
what?
guess what?
Well, it was 2 days before Labor Day. There is an email out for all of us and says, by the way, the company is ceasing operations.
Oh my gosh. Folks, aviation is a wonderful industry. You're away from home a lot, and you don't know what your next company you're going to be working for is. So if you're that flexible, it's a great industry to be in. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Well,
So
so
that,
back
so
home
they,
you are.
so you're back home again. Okay.
Uh, we got to spool back Vision Jets. I think I was already the chief pilot. I get a call from somebody who is sitting right in front of me right now. And that was Eric, and he said, Joe, I'm thinking about changing my career. I loved flying all my life, and I somehow think I need to fulfill something there. It's nagging at me. I really, really. But do you think I still can do it?
I remember that.
And I think, Eric, you are not too old. There is no not too old. You're not too late. Sure, go for it. And I said, let me see, maybe even I can offer you a position. And I know we did.
You did. You did. You
We
did.
carry on from there.
Well, it came at a time also where another old dear friend, who was a chief pilot of a company flying Embraer Phenom 300s, a twin engine jet, in a 135 operation, and they had a second in command SIC training program where they trained you internally. And I've shared this story before. The bottom line is I'm sitting now with two opportunities, which happens a lot in aviation, if I'm not wrong, right, Joe? I
Yeah,
mean,
either nothing
and
or all.
the all or nothing, yes, and you got to make a decision. So the decision I made, unfortunately, I probably made you a little angry.
No, you
No,
didn't.
you didn't. But you understood that I needed to take something that I was not going to be a captain in a jet. I needed to be under the tutelage of some really experienced captains for a long, long time. So, and I did, and that's where I wound up. So I took the job with the other company, but our paths would cross again. Talk about
Yes.
that, Joe.
So the Honda Jet operator ceases operations, and I'm sitting at home, and I'm honestly now. I knew I would soon become 65, which is a hard, how to say, restriction for international flying.
Yep.
And so if I wanted to move up to bigger jets, which I could, they most likely wouldn't hire me because of that restriction.
Yeah.
If I go for smaller jets, which fly Caribbean and the US, I would be able to do that, but may run into another 134 and a half. And
Yep.
I had offers, but then this guy, Mr. Eric Cooter, calls me and says, "Hey Joe, guess what I'm doing?" So what are you doing? I said, "I'm going back to teaching. I am hired. You were hired already
I was already hired.
by
Yep.
that company." And I said, "Interesting. You know, I worked for them." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Do you think there is an opportunity for me?" And
Does
Eric
this
said,
sound familiar?
"Yeah." And Eric said, I'm pretty sure they are hiring. And I know you talked to the recruiter, and it doesn't take long. I think 2 days later, I get a call from her. Well, there we go. Driving to Savannah, going through an interview, uh, while Eric is preparing to move to Savannah.
Yeah.
I got hired, and I think we are about 4 weeks apart. You were 4 weeks earlier in Savannah than I was.
I was, yeah. Now, here's the cool thing is, here's the thing. We have these people come into our lives where they guide us in our time of transition, and we have the opportunity, and I've been blessed to help my dear brother Joe in his time of transition. And what's really cool about this story is he and I go to Dallas together to do our initial instructor training, and we get to spend a week together, tell all kinds of old stories. So all I can say is that part of the beauty of reinvention and living life is that we have the opportunity to change the lives of other people, and sometimes it gets reciprocated back. So I've been able to bless him as he blessed me. So
Yeah,
but here we are in Savannah getting to hang out together. And again, yesterday we had lunch together. I made lunch. His wonderful dog Hero. I don't know if Hero's still in the room in there with you.
He went downstairs.
He went downstairs.
He said this guy is talking and talking and talking.
I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm leaving. So but the thing is we are close enough now. We get to hang out and spend some time together. Occasionally, we see each other at work a lot. So Joe, I thank you for sharing your story. It's an incredible story. I know there's much more to come. There's more stories for us to share as friends and brothers but I always ask this as we come to the end of a podcast. And quite honestly, yours is such a good, rich story. I may have to do 2 episodes. It's really good. And that's fine with you, right? If I have to do that, I may do episode A and episode B because it's such a good story. But I always ask this as we come to the end of the podcast, and it's really a simple question. I want you to think about it and then and answer if you would. If you knew someone was coming to a crossroad in their life and they're thinking about reinventing themselves or taking a different path or trying something new, what encouragement would you give them, especially if they feel stuck or they believe it's too late to change? What encouragement or advice or guidance would you give someone who's thinking about making that kind of life change?
My answer will be most likely twofold. First of all, the question is, do people know about what you're thinking? That's my first question. Do people know that you are maybe at a road bump, a crossroad? Do people know what is moving you at the moment?
Wow. Do people know? Okay.
Do people know? Because, and this is an experience I had in my life. I will never forget this guy. His name was Wolfram. And it was very early in my life where he told me what I can do and what I'm able to do. I did not know. I had no idea. But he was seeing in me things I did not realize that I could do that. And he was a trigger for me. He was a trigger to change my thinking.
Sure.
So here is the thing. Talk to people. Talk to friends.
That's good.
Talk to somebody who may know something about what you're thinking at. And then I said twofold. The second thing is, if you really want something and you are willing to commit, then it's never too late. Never.
So first off, if I hear you right, is share your dream with others because you never know who's going to help you, right? And then the second one is if you're ready to commit, there's nothing going to stand in your way.
That's what it is.
I love it.
I know I'm full of stories, but I want to tell this little story because
By the way, I
it
just
comes
wanted you to just as a pause that if you're hearing that, there's the sound of freedom going over the house right now. It's an F-22 out of the Air Force Base near us. So just wanted to
nice.
share that. No, it's
Yeah.
nice. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So it goes back to my days where I was doing CFI freelancing, and I'm sitting in the office in Punta Gorda Airport, and there comes a guy, older gentleman,
Mm.
and he says, "Joe, do you have a moment?" I said, "Sure, I do." And he sits down and said, "What can I do for you?" And he said, "You know what, Joe? I had a good career in my life. I have been working. I was very, very successful. Uh, but I had all my life a dream. I wanted to fly. And I think I'm too old now." His name was Chuck. I said, "Chuck, how old are you?" He said, "Joe, you won't believe it, but I'm 81."
Oh my goodness. Oh
And I
my
said,
goodness.
Chuck, here's what we're going to do, if you're okay with it. I said, "I'm going to take you up with my airplane and we're going to fly. Let's just see how you like it, how you feel, and let me just look at you and see how are you doing." So we did. We went up. We went over the harbor. We did a little bit of sightseeing. I let him manipulate the controls, um, and I could see the joy. He was so full of joy.
Oh yeah.
And we're coming back, and we're walking to the office, and he's a little bit quiet. And we are sitting down, and I said, "Chuck, you know what? You can do it." He said, "You think?" I said, "Yeah, it will take longer. You can't compare yourself to 20-year-old students. Don't. It may take longer. It may sometimes be hard for you, but if you want it, you can do it."
There you go.
And he took flight lessons. He did his private pilot, and he did his instrument rating.
Oh my gosh.
And
At
sadly,
81.
yes, well, he was 83 when he finished.
Oh my gosh.
And
But to do it in 2 years is incredible. Go ahead.
yeah, and a few years ago, I met him in Arcadia, and he's still flying.
Oh my gosh.
He's renting airplanes out of Punta Gorda, and he does short hops. He said, "Joe, my attention span is not that good anymore." But he said, "Flying from Punta Gorda to Arcadia, 20 minutes back and forth, I can do it." And he
Oh
has so much
wow.
fun with it. He was 81.
81 years old. And
Yeah.
Joe, you have captured in that story that you've lived the truth of what I'm hoping this podcast does for people is the reality is it is never too late to go
Never.
after what you're dreaming about. And you proved it with Chuck. Gosh, I'd love to meet Chuck someday if he's still around. I bet he is. I bet he's still flying down in Punta Gorda somewhere.
Yeah. If he couldn't
Hey,
fly, he would drive his. I know he would drive his car to Acadia and just sit on the porch and watch
and,
airplanes.
and watch airplanes. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, Joe, I got to tell you, brother, we're kind of coming to the close, but I want to give great thanks to you for sharing your amazing story of resilience and reinvention and tenacity and hitting brick walls and going around them and just living a life that's full of joy. And I know as an instructor now you're doing an incredible job. And I get the opportunity to pass in the hallways people that you get to inspire every single day. So I just want to thank you for our friendship and thank you for sharing your story today on the podcast.
You're very welcome.
All right, my brother. Hey, listen, we're going to bring this to a close. Thanks again for your time today, brother. I want to thank you all for being a part of Never Too Late, Real Stories of Reinvention. This podcast is designed to give people the inspiration and the encouragement to go out and do the things that you're dreaming about. And I hope that Joe's story today was able to do that for you. We're going to be featuring a podcast every 2 weeks. we're getting more and more people that are willing to be guests on the show. So hopefully, if my time allows, we'll try to do a podcast each week. I do think that we're going to probably make Joe's story a two-part podcast, which is fine, because that's wonderful, and I know people want to tune in. So thank you for joining us on Never Too Late. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget, go out there and chase your dream.